What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to examine an issue of the X-Men today. I'm examining X-Men issue 60. This is written by Roy Thomas with penciling by Neil Adams, inking by Tom Palmer, and lettering by Sam Rosen. This is kind of a little bit of a slowdown in this ongoing roller coaster of adventure that we've been on for several issues now. I talked about in my examination of issue 59 how since Roy Thomas and Neil Adams started working together, it seems like the series hasn't taken any breaks. You don't have a clean break between storylines. Back in the early 60s, when the X-Men would fight any bad guy, generally it would begin and end in one issue. You might have a story that would carry over for a few issues. There was a two-parter where they fought the Juggernaut, or a three-parter where they first fought the Sentinels, but generally a story would begin or end within an issue. At the very least, you wouldn't have like they're fighting the Sentinels and then you kind of get a hint about the villain that they're fighting in the next issue, which is kind of what we had going on here. You had the Living Pharaoh storyline, which fed right into the Sentinel storyline, and then that kind of fed right into what's going on in this issue. At the end of issue 59, we get a hint that Dr. Lycos, an old friend of Charles Xavier, that there is more to him than meets the eye, and the X-Men, they called him because Alex Summers is wounded, and he said, yeah, bring him on over, I'll help him. And so that is what this issue starts with. The X-Men are at the Sentinel headquarters built by Larry Trask, and they say, all right, we've got to go. Judge Chalmers, you are Larry Trask's friend. Are you sure you don't need anything before we leave? He says, no, I'm good. I've got this. A weird thing, Larry Trask is, I guess, in a catatonic state, and Judge Chalmers says he can never find out that he's a mutant. Once I put this medallion that masked his mutant presence from the Sentinels, once I put that back on him, he will forget that he's a mutant. That's a little weird. I don't know why the medallion would make him forget that. Also, he says this might cause him to become schizophrenic, but when he found out he was a mutant a couple of issues ago, he wasn't happy to hear it, but it's not like it did any mental damage to him. Especially last issue, he seemed to handle it pretty well. He was willing to help Judge Chalmers destroy these Sentinels, or at the very least, free Alex Summers, so that he could destroy the Sentinels. So it was a little weird that Judge Chalmers is saying, like, Larry Trask can never find out. And I don't know when or if we are ever going to see Larry Trask again. I know we will see many more Sentinels in the coming years, but Larry Trask, I'm not sure if we're going to see more of him or when we will see more of him. But anyway, Judge Chalmers says he will release all of these mutants that the Sentinels were able to capture, and so the X-Men, they fly on to Dr. Lycos, and then they drop off Alex there, and then Jean and Scott, they say, well, it's a nice day, why don't we go out for a little bit? And Scott talks about how he was an idiot for allowing his fear of his optic blast to get in the way of him and Jean kind of having a relationship. He talks about that, so I guess these two are in a relationship now. If you'll remember a few issues ago when the X-Men had been split up thanks to the suggestion / order from Special Agent Duncan that they all kind of split their forces across the country, Scott and Jean were in New York, and Scott was kind of acting like an overpossessive, jealous boyfriend when Jean was at this modeling job. And they were saying, that's a really good cover story that we've got going here. Well, now Scott seems like he's kind of actually in a relationship with Jean, and then they immediately, like in two panels, they drive over to the school. So I was mentioning a few issues ago that we hadn't seen them at the school in a while, but they are now back at the school. They are completely disregarding what Agent Duncan wanted them to do. They're all back together, and they're all back at the school now, training in the danger room. Scott temporarily forgets that he's about to open a door, and Jean says, no, wait, that's the danger room, and then he gets zapped by something. But then they're in there. Polaris, or Lorna Dane, she still isn't calling herself Polaris, but she has now said she wants to be an X-Man. Her home is not in the city. She says, Magneto may not be my father, but I am a mutant, so I want to be with you guys. So she's there, and then she and Jean are like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we, like, sabotage the boys while they're doing their training? Which, I get it, the danger room is a place where unexpected dangers can come at you and you need to be ready for anything, but then Polaris is like making metal stuff come out and attack the guys, and it seems like someone could have gotten really hurt if they did that, especially since Polaris doesn't have a whole lot of practice with her abilities at this point, so that was really weird. Also, Polaris tells Jean that, she likes Bobby okay, but she does not consider herself his girlfriend, and Bobby has been going on about how Polaris is his girl for a while now, and you know what? Good on you, Polaris, because Bobby just dumped Zelda, I couldn't remember her name. We spent like 50-something issues with Beast and Iceman going on double dates with Zelda and Vera, and then without any warning Beast and Bobby decide to move to California without breaking up with Zelda and Vera. So you know what? If you had dated Iceman, it probably wouldn't have worked out very well for you. Anyway, while they're practicing, they hear, or it's after they're practicing, they hear on the radio that a winged, some kind of creature, some people believe it's a mutant, has been stealing stuff. And the X-Men are like, oh great, mutants are getting blamed for this again. And I guess I should go back a little bit. Dr. Lycos, he was a friend of Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier wanted to study mutants so that he could better understand them, and of course find and found the X-Men and train them to become superheroes. Dr. Lycos, however, wanted to find mutants so that he could absorb their energy. Dr. Lycos is not a mutant. When he was a kid, he and his father were with a doctor and his daughter in Tierra del Fuego, which is a real place in the southernmost tip of South America. And they were there, and then the daughter, she ended up getting lost somewhere, and she was being attacked by these pterodons, basically these dinosaurs that should have been extinct. And young Carl, he was able to save her, but he got scratched and or bitten by some of the pterodons, and so from that encounter, he got the ability to absorb energy from other people and things. He absorbs energy from a dog at one point. There's someone who's injured. He absorbs energy from them. And so he's basically kind of like a vampire. He is a doctor now in the present day, and there's one guy who he says, I don't know what you do to me whenever you hypnotize me, but I feel great, although I feel a little weak afterwards. And Dr. Lycos is, of course, absorbing energy from this guy. And so when the X-Men bring Alex to him, he absorbs some energy from him, and of course Alex has energy to spare, and he does not know that this is going to happen, but he transforms into Sauron, the big, ugly pterodactyl creature. And he gets his name because when he was younger, and he was starting to fall for the girl that he saved, she says something like, oh, you just do nothing but read fairy tales, and of course it's the Lord of the Rings book, and he says, that is the most evil creature I could think of, so I will name myself after that evil creature. And that's a little silly. This would have been in the 60s when I don't think The Lord of the Rings was that popular. Maybe it was, and I'm unaware of it, but I feel like for a while, The Lord of the Rings kind of wasn't popular, and then it got more popular over time. But this is something that if it happened today, like, it'd be really ridiculous if someone transformed into a monster and they said, well, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, so I'm going to call myself the Night King. Like, that's a little silly. And there's not really any similarities between this energy-absorbing dinosaur creature and Sauron from The Lord of the Rings. He's not a magic user. He's not a giant eyeball in the sky. There's really nothing connecting them, except that Sauron is evil, and this guy, this Sauron, considers himself to be evil. So anyway, Angel, he gets frustrated because Cyclops says they should just lay low and not investigate this winged mutant, alleged mutant that's out there terrorizing people. So Angel goes and he finds his old costume that he wore before he joined the X-Men as the Avenging Angel, and he says, well, if you guys aren't going to do anything, then I'll go out there and investigate this. And then once he leaves, then the other X-Men say, okay, let's go follow him, make sure he doesn't, get hurt or anything. Angel finds Sauron out and about, and then Sauron tells him to look into his eyes, and Angel does, and then that's the end of the issue. So I guess setting up some character stuff here, Angel periodically is the one who kind of butts heads with Cyclops whenever he gives an order that Angel doesn't like, so that is classic Angel. We don't have any more of Angel like, man, I really like Jean Grey, and it's a shame that she only has eyes for Scott, but we do still have a lot of them not really getting along with each other, or at least Angel not getting along with Cyclops. So I guess that's fine. Character dynamic, character interactions where everything isn't just peachy keen, that's good. You want a little bit of, I guess, spice in the character interactions, but Angel quite often is just a guy, and then every now and then it's like they'll remember, oh yeah, Angel can maybe raise a fuss and kind of be angry about something. So it's kind of weird that this just kind of comes out of nowhere. Angel says, fine, I'll go do it myself. Like, you could have just stayed here. But anyway, also you get Polaris saying like she's not really into Bobby that way. So I don't know if they are setting up that she and Alex are going to be together. I'm not really sure when that relationship gets started. One more thing worth noting is that someone, might have been Beast, says that every mutant on the planet was captured by the Sentinels except for Magneto and the Changeling. Magneto, of course, is assumed dead dead after that crossover with the Avengers series. And the Changeling, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I think I mentioned this before, but way back when Professor X died at the hands of Grotesque the Subhuman, we will find out pretty soon that that was actually the Changeling that died. And Professor X is actually hiding out because he doesn't want to be disturbed. So he basically wanted someone else to fill in for him so that he could do his research undisturbed. And we will find that out pretty soon, I think. But anyway, that is, I guess, some foreshadowing here. I wonder if Roy Thomas regretted killing off Professor X. Once again, we've had several false starts of this series trying to find that thing that would make the series work because I've heard that sales were down during this period. So maybe he's setting up the idea that Professor X still is alive out there and that, we can bring him back and maybe people will be interested in the series again. Also, you have Carl Lycos who gets scratched by these pterodons and then he gets the power to absorb energy. Why hasn't anyone else gotten scratched by a pterodon and gotten this energy absorbing power? Because it's not like it was in a place that was completely remote. They were in a real place in the real world, and yes, they were up in the mountains. Not a whole lot of people would go up there, but I have to believe that someone else would have encountered these pterodons before Carl Lycos. So that's a question that I highly doubt we will ever see answered. But anyway, that's about it for this issue. We will get more of the evil Sauron in the next issue, so in the meantime, consider this issue examined.